I should start by saying that Americans are being hurt by the shutdown writ large, and the president, in any other normal time, the president would be concerned about that. Any American being harmed, not getting a paycheck, not being able to get their benefits because the government is shut down. But President Trump has talked about this shutdown by saying that Democrats are the ones that are being hurt. Democrats are being killed by the shutdown, that this is a shutdown that gives us an opportunity to go after Democratic programs and also to protect Republicans. And so he's seen it in this very red-blue kind of partisan lens. But when you actually look at how people are being impacted, a lot of Republican states, a lot of Republican constituents, including farmers, including people in rural America, are being hurt by this shutdown. And we've seen the president try to have new carve-outs, try to open up programs that previously were closed to try to protect and help members of his own party. But he only has a certain amount of power. He cannot do exactly what he wants to do to shield his own voters from this shutdown. And so we have seen farmers, we have seen rural Americans, small business owners, a number of different people, even people who are trying to access airports in small towns being impacted by the shutdown. And things would only get worse if this continues into November, when SNAP and other programs, including the thing that's at the very heart of this shutdown, which is the healthcare subsidies, those are disproportionately used by Republicans in places like Florida and Georgia and Texas, places that did not expand Medicaid. And so very soon this will become even more of a problem for red state Americans, and Trump will have even more reason to engage on this and to make sure that his voters are not harmed by the situation that we're in.
Okay, so here's something wild that nobody's talking about. Donald Trump might actually be facing impeachment again. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. We've been down this road before, right? But hold on, because this time is different. This time some of his own people are turning on him. Let me paint you the picture here. We're looking at Republican Congress members, people who've defended Trump through everything, quietly whispering that they might not block impeachment this time, like actually letting it happen. And get this, it's all because Trump wants taxpayers to give him $230 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $230 million to pay for his legal bills. Can you believe this? The man who claims to be a billionaire, who told everyone he was too rich to be bought, is now asking regular Americans to cover his lawyer fees. And it's not just Democrats who are mad about it. His own party is losing it behind closed doors. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us. Be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video. So here's what's happening right now. Democratic Representative Al Green from Texas just filed new impeachment papers. He's citing abuse of power and violation of the War Powers Clause. Now, most people don't even know what the War Powers Clause is. And honestly, Trump probably doesn't either. But basically, it's about whether the president can do military stuff without asking Congress first. But that's not even the crazy part. Progressive groups just delivered almost 1 million petition signatures to Congress. 1 million people saying, yeah, let's impeach him. Again, and normally Republicans would just laugh this off and vote it down in like 5 minutes. But this time they're nervous. Senator Lindsey Graham, who's basically been Trump's best friend in the Senate for years, he's privately telling people that impeachment is a real concern, like he's actually worried. When Lindsey Graham starts sweating about Trump, you know something's changed. And look, I get it. We've seen this movie before. Trump got impeached twice already, and nothing happened. The Senate didn't convict him either time, so why should anyone care about round 3? Well, here's the thing. Those other times, his party stood by him no matter what. They circled the wagons. They defended every single thing he did. This time, Republicans are breaking ranks. Some are thinking about leaving the party completely, going independent. And that's huge, because if enough Republicans defect, then Democrats could actually have the votes to do something real here. Now, the $230 million demand, that's what pushed people over the edge. Think about it. Americans are struggling with grocery prices, gas prices, rent going up. And Trump's out here saying, hey, can I get $250 million from taxpayers to pay my lawyers? Come on. Even his supporters are looking at that like, wait, what? But it's bigger than just the money. This whole thing ties into the government shutdown drama we've been watching. Trump's been fighting with Congress over spending, over accountability, and Republicans are tired of it. Some of them are calling it governing by chaos, and they're not wrong. Here's where it gets really interesting though. The 2026 midterms are coming up. That's next year. And GOP strategists are freaking out because if there's an impeachment vote before the midterms, it could split the party right down the middle. Some Republicans defending Trump, others voting against him. And when your party's fighting itself, you lose elections. Democrats could flip the House. So Trump's people are watching all this and they're scrambling. Because unlike the last impeachments where it was pretty clear he'd survive, this one's got real danger attached to it. When your own side starts questioning you, that's when things get serious. And the timing couldn't be worse for him. He's already dealing with all his legal cases. He's got prosecutors coming at him from multiple states. He's got civil lawsuits. And now Congress might pile on with impeachment number 3. Yeah, like the man needs more legal problems, right? The media is calling it an impeachment storm. And honestly, that's kind of perfect because it feels like everything's building up at once, all these different problems converging into one big mess, and Trump standing in the middle of it, wondering why his friends aren't defending him anymore. So that's where we are, Trump facing possible impeachment, with Republicans maybe, just maybe, letting it happen. And it all comes down to whether enough of them have had enough, whether they're willing to risk their political careers by going against him. Because make no mistake, Trump will destroy anyone who votes for his impeachment. He's done it before, he'll do it again. But here's the question nobody's asking. What happens if they do it anyway? What happens if Republicans decide they're done protecting him? Because that changes everything. That's not just impeachment. That's the end of Trump's grip on the GOP. And honestly, we might be watching that happen in real time. Right now, Republicans are doing the math. They're counting votes. They're looking at their districts and wondering if defending Trump one more time is worth losing their seats over. Some of them are realizing the answer might be no. This isn't just another political scandal that'll blow over in a week. This is a genuine fracture in the Republican Party, the kind of split that could reshape American politics for a generation. And it's all happening because Trump asked for too much money at exactly the wrong time. Let me show you exactly how we got here and why this time really is different. All right, so let's back up and understand what's really going on here, because the media is covering this all wrong. They're treating it like just another impeachment attempt, another day, another scandal with Trump, but they're missing the bigger picture. First thing you got to understand is that this isn't just Democrats being Democrats. Like, yeah, Al Green filing impeachment papers. That's expected. He's been trying to impeach Trump for years. The progressive groups with their petition signatures, also not surprising. That's their thing. They hate Trump and they want him gone. But here's what's different. The Republicans, specifically the ones who've been ride or die for Trump since day one, those guys are wavering. And I'm not talking about your Mitt Romneys or your Lisa Murkowskis who've always been skeptical. I'm talking about true believers who defended Trump through both impeachments, through January 6th, through everything. So what changed? Well, let's talk about this $230 million thing, because it's so much worse than it sounds. Trump's claiming he needs reimbursement for legal fees related to his prior cases, prior legal defenses, like stuff from before he was president this time around, and he wants taxpayers to cover it. Now think about the optics of that for a second. You're a Republican in Congress. You've spent years telling your voters that government spending is out of control, that we need to cut the budget, that taxpayers are overtaxed. And then your guy, the head of your party, comes asking for $250 million for his personal legal bills. How do you defend that? You can't. Like, there's no spin that makes that okay. And Republican Congress members are getting hammered back home about it. Their constituents are calling their offices like, are you serious right now? We're supposed to pay for Trump's lawyers? But it gets better. Or worse, depending on how you look at it. This money isn't even for his presidential duties. It's for private stuff, personal legal issues, which means there's zero argument that taxpayers should be involved. Zero. And even Trump's most loyal defenders in Congress are looking at this like, how are we supposed to justify this? So you've got Republicans who are already tired from the government shutdown fights. Trump kept pushing Congress to the brink, threatening shutdowns, making demands, and a lot of GOP members were fed up with that. They were getting blamed by voters for the chaos. Their approval ratings were tanking, and they were starting to think, is this guy worth it? Then the $230 million request drops, and that's the straw that breaks the camel's back for some of them. Suddenly you're seeing private conversations where Republicans are saying maybe we should just let the Democrats have this one. Maybe we should step aside and let impeachment move forward. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but they won't actually vote to impeach him, right? They'll just not block it in committee or something. And yeah, that's probably true for most of them. But here's the thing. If enough Republicans just don't show up to vote, or if they vote present instead of no, Democrats could actually pass impeachment in the House. And then it goes to the Senate, where you need 67 votes to convict and remove him from office. That's a much higher bar. But even getting to that point, even having a real Senate trial where Republicans have to publicly defend Trump on all this, that's damaging. That's Republicans on record, either protecting a guy who wants taxpayers to fund his legal defense or voting against their own president. Either way, the party loses. And smart Republicans know this. They're looking at 2026 and doing the math. If we defend Trump on this, we lose moderate voters. If we vote against Trump, we lose his base. There's no winning move here. So some of them are considering option 3, leave the party, become independents. That way they can vote their conscience without technically betraying the GOP. And there's already rumors about which Republicans might do this. Names are being floated in private meetings. Nothing public yet, but the fact that it's even being discussed, that tells you how serious this is. Let's talk about the War Powers Clause thing for a second, because that's actually important too. Democrats are claiming Trump violated constitutional limits on presidential war powers. Now, I don't know the specific incident they're referring to. The documents don't spell it out, but here's what matters. It gives Republicans cover. See, if this was just about the money, just about Trump asking for $230 million, some Republicans might still defend him. They'd say, oh, it's complicated, there's legal precedent, whatever. But when you add in constitutional violations, when you're talking about war powers and abuse of authority, now you've got a policy argument. Now Republicans can say, look, I'm not voting against Trump because I don't like him. I'm voting for the Constitution. That's huge. That's the permission structure they need to break ranks without getting destroyed by Trump's base. They can frame it as principle over party, as defending constitutional order, and their voters back home might actually buy that. Meanwhile, Trump's team is in full panic mode. They're calling Republican Congress members. They're making threats. They're promising primary challenges to anyone who doesn't fall in line. But here's the problem. Trump's political power has been weakening. His endorsed candidates haven't been doing great in recent elections. His approval ratings are underwater, so the threats don't carry the same weight they used to. And Republicans are noticing. They're seeing that maybe going against Trump isn't political suicide anymore. Maybe voters are tired of the drama too. Maybe there's life after Trump. The activist groups are also playing this smart. That petition with almost 1 million signatures, they didn't just dump it on Congress's doorstep. They organized it by congressional district. So Republican members can see exactly how many of their constituents signed it. And for some of them, the numbers are uncomfortable. Even in red districts, you've got thousands of people saying, yeah, impeach him. Now, here's where the conspiracy part of my brain kicks in. What if some Republicans actually want impeachment to succeed? Not because they're principled, but because they want Trump gone so they can take back the party. Think about it. Trump's been the center of Republican politics for almost 10 years now. Every candidate has to kiss his ring. Every policy has to get his approval. A lot of traditional Republicans hate that. If Trump gets impeached and removed, he's done. He can't run for office again. He loses his political power, and suddenly the GOP can move on. They can rebuild without him. Yeah, they take a hit in the short term, lose some Trump voters, but long term, they might be better off. I'm not saying that's definitely what's happening, but I'm saying don't be surprised if some Republicans are quietly hoping this succeeds. They just can't say it out loud, because Trump's base would destroy them. The other factor here is legal pressure. Trump's got prosecutors coming at him from multiple directions. If he gets impeached and removed from office, he loses presidential immunity. Suddenly, all those criminal cases get a lot easier to prosecute. So there might be some coordination happening, prosecutors timing their moves to line up with impeachment. I don't have proof of that, but it would make sense strategically. What we're watching here is Trump's coalition falling apart in real time. The foundation he built, the loyalty he commanded, is cracking. And once it starts cracking, it usually breaks completely. We've seen this before with other political figures. They seem invincible right up until they're not, and the cracks are showing everywhere now. You've got former Trump officials writing op-eds against him. You've got conservative commentators questioning his judgment. You've got Republican donors quietly funding alternatives. The whole infrastructure that supported Trump is weakening. Part of that is just fatigue. People are tired. Trump's been dominating politics for almost a decade. Every day is a new crisis, a new controversy, a new fight, and even his supporters are exhausted. They want normalcy. They want boring politics where they don't have to check the news every 5 minutes to see what happened now. But Trump can't do boring. It's not in his nature. He needs the attention, the drama, the conflict, and that's becoming a liability. Because while his core base loves it, everyone else is over it. Independents are over it. Moderate Republicans are over it. Even some MAGA folks are starting to wonder if there's another way. The $230 million request perfectly encapsulates this problem. It's classic Trump, audacious, norm-breaking, polarizing. 5 years ago, his base would have loved it. Stick it to the establishment, make them pay. But now, in this economy, with people struggling, it just looks greedy and out of touch. So let me break down exactly what this means and why you should care, even if you're sick of hearing about Trump impeachment drama. Point number 1. This is about party control. Republicans are fighting over the soul of their party Do they stay the party of Trump, or do they try to move on? And impeachment forces them to choose. There's no more riding the fence. You either defend him or you don't. And here's why that matters to regular people. Whichever direction Republicans go, that determines what policies they push. Trump Republicans want hardline immigration, trade wars, culture war stuff. Traditional Republicans want tax cuts, deregulation, foreign policy stability. Those are very different agendas. So this fight over Trump is really a fight over what the Republican Party becomes. If Trump gets impeached and enough Republicans let it happen, that's the traditional wing taking back control. Expect the party to shift back toward establishment positions. Less chaos, more predictable. If Trump survives again, he tightens his grip, and the MAGA movement is the GOP for the foreseeable future. Point number 2, follow the money. That $230 million didn't come out of nowhere. Trump's been hemorrhaging cash on legal fees, multiple criminal cases, civil suits, lawyer bills piling up, and he's looking for any way to offload those costs. But here's the thing, if taxpayers won't pay it, who will? His campaign fund, that's running dry. His businesses, they're under scrutiny too. Foreign donors, that opens up a whole other can of worms. So Trump's in a financial corner, and desperate people make stupid decisions. This money grab might have been his biggest political mistake yet, because it finally gave Republicans an excuse to abandon him. Before this, they could always say, well, he's fighting for us. He's taking on the establishment, but asking taxpayers for $250 million for personal legal fees? There's no way to spin that as fighting for the little guy. And the amount matters too. $230 million isn't pocket change. That's real money. That's enough to fund programs, to fix infrastructure, to help communities. Asking for that much for personal legal bills? It's offensive to people. Even Trump supporters, who've defended everything else, are struggling with this one. Point number 3, the timing of all this. We're heading into midterms, and Democrats are salivating at the idea of Republicans tearing themselves apart over Trump impeachment. Every Republican who votes against impeachment, Democrats will hammer them in ads. Every Republican who votes for it, Trump will hammer them in primaries. It's a no-win situation for the GOP, and Democratic strategists know it. That's why they're pushing this now, instead of waiting. They want Republicans divided and fighting each other when voters go to the polls, because a divided party loses elections. So if you're wondering why Democrats are going so hard on this, why they're not letting it go, that's why. It's not really about removing Trump. I mean, yeah, they'd love that, but they know it's unlikely. It's about damaging Republicans before midterms, making them look weak and fractured. And honestly, it's working. You've got Republicans publicly contradicting each other, some saying impeachment is ridiculous, others saying it needs to be taken seriously, some defending Trump's money request, others calling it outrageous. The party looks like a mess, and voters don't trust messes. Point number 4, what happens if this actually succeeds? Like, what if Republicans break ranks and Trump gets impeached and removed? Well, first off, the internet would explode. Social media would be unusable for weeks. Trump supporters would lose their minds. There'd probably be protests, maybe worse. But politically, Vice President Vance becomes president, and that's a whole different ballgame. Vance doesn't have Trump's charisma or his base. He's more of a traditional politician, so you'd see the party shift immediately. Less bombast, more calculated moves. Democrats would probably prefer that. Honestly, Vance is more predictable, easier to run against. Trump's whole thing is that he's unpredictable. He dominates the news cycle. Without him, the political landscape gets quieter, boring even. But here's the catch. Trump's base doesn't go away. They don't suddenly become Vance supporters. They get angry. They feel betrayed. And angry voters do 2 things. They either stay home on election day, or they burn everything down. Republicans have to be terrified of both options. If Trump's base stays home in 2026, Republicans get slaughtered in the midterms, lose the House for sure, maybe the Senate too. If Trump's base gets radicalized and goes full scorched earth, you're looking at primary challenges against every Republican who voted for impeachment, complete party chaos. So Republicans are trying to thread an impossible needle here, keep Trump's base happy while also not defending the indefensible, and I don't think they can do it. Something's got to give. Now let's talk about what comes next. If impeachment moves forward, we're looking at weeks of hearings, testimony, documents, the whole circus, and every day of that is another day Trump's not focused on governing, another day of chaos and distraction. Republicans who want to get actual policy done, they're furious about that. They've got legislation they want to pass, judicial appointments they want to confirm, and instead they're going to spend weeks dealing with impeachment. That's time and political capital wasted. But Democrats don't care about that. They want the circus. They want the chaos. Because chaos hurts the party in power. And right now, that's Republicans. The other thing to watch is how this affects Trump's legal cases outside of Congress. If impeachment hearings start revealing new information, new documents, new testimony, prosecutors in other cases can use that. It all feeds into each other. Each legal problem makes the others worse. And Trump's lawyers know this. They're trying to keep everything separate to firewall the different cases, but it's not working. Information leaks, witnesses talk, documents get shared, and suddenly what started as one problem becomes 5 problems. Here's my prediction. This impeachment effort moves further than people think. Maybe not all the way to removal, but further than the last 2 attempts. You'll see some Republicans vote for it. Maybe not enough to actually remove him, but enough to make a statement, enough to show that his coalition is crumbling. And then in the midterms, Republicans take a beating, lose seats they should have kept. And after that, the party has a come to Jesus moment about whether Trump is worth it anymore. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Republicans circle the wagons one more time. Maybe Trump survives again and comes out stronger. Maybe his base gets so fired up by impeachment that they turn out in massive numbers for midterms and Republicans keep control. But I doubt it. I think we're watching the beginning of the end here. Not the end of Trump's political career necessarily. He's like a cockroach. He always survives. But the end of his total control over the Republican Party. The end of everyone being too scared to cross him. Because once you show that you can oppose Trump and live to tell about it, other people get brave. It snowballs. And before you know it, he's just another former president yelling at clouds on social media instead of the kingmaker he used to be. The $230 million request might go down in history as the moment Trump finally pushed too far. The moment his own party said, yeah, we're done. So keep your eyes on this. Watch which Republicans break ranks. Watch how Trump responds. Watch whether his threats still work or if people just ignore him now. Because that tells you everything about where American politics is heading. This isn't just about impeachment. It's about power. Who has it, who's losing it, and what comes after. And right now, Trump's grip is slipping. Question is whether he falls or manages to hang on one more time. The next few weeks are going to be absolutely critical. We're going to see who blinks first. Are Republicans going to fold under pressure from Trump, or are they going to stand firm and let this impeachment process play out? And more importantly, how many of them are willing to go on record one way or the other? Because that's the real test here. It's easy to whisper privately that you're concerned about Trump. It's easy to tell reporters off the record that you think he's gone too far. But voting, actually casting a ballot for or against impeachment, that's permanent. That's your name on the record forever. And that's what makes this so fascinating. We're about to find out who has courage and who doesn't. Who's willing to risk their career for principle, and who just wants to keep their head down and survive. Politics at its most raw and real. We'll find out soon enough. And trust me, it's going to be wild either way. This is the kind of political drama that defines careers, that reshapes parties, that gets written about in history books. And we're watching it happen in real time.